This wrestling show that's happening this Saturday, and it is occurring in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia at 1 o'clock. It is official. The wrestlers are down there. The staff is down there. After everything going on in our country this past week, Night of Champions takes place this weekend.
Not to turn this into a political conversation by any stretch, but in my opinion, this show should not be happening in Saudi Arabia. I'm all right with the show happening in general, but I don't think it should be happening in Saudi Arabia.
That's a reasonable take, and I respect it. Where do you want to start off with the card?
I want to start with the match that was taken off the card, actually, because we were supposed to get AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, but because of Dom's ribs, I don't think that's the real reason. That match is no longer happening. Does it tie into Liv Morgan? Probably, because my guess is she was going to get involved in some way. Are they going to save it till SummerSlam? Dom versus AJ doesn't feel like a SummerSlam match, at least not to me. I'm personally, as much as I love AJ, I'm personally okay with this match not happening.
So, I thought when Dom won the title at WrestleMania and he got that reaction from the crowd, which WWE crowds nowadays just seem like they love cheering heels. I don't know what's happened over the last couple months, but every heel gets cheered and every face gets booed seemingly. But I thought it could have led to a potential Dominic Mysterio babyface turn. And they never went in that direction. Now, with Liv Morgan being out, which was so unfortunate because you could have made a case Liv Morgan was the MVP of WWE this far in 2025.
She was out. She was the MVP of WWE in 2024. C-Boss, if you're watching, I know you hate that take.
I was going to say, I know our man C-Boss disagrees with us, but C-Boss, I'm sorry. She may look like Alexa Bliss, but she's just as talented. I don't hold that against her per se. No.
And she was clearly going to get into a feud with Nikki Bella for Evolution, which, from what I heard, the whole show was going to kind of be based on that. So they have to scrap it and come up with something new.
So here's my guess. I think that they are going to do a similar storyline, unfortunately, to what they do with Jade, Bianca, and Naomi, where Roxanne Perez is going to basically play the part of Naomi. She's going to become the tag team champion with Raquel Rodriguez. I think that now you pivot to the point that they do what happened with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley when they were doing their storyline last year, where when Liv Morgan comes back, Dominic Mysterio turns into his real father, Eddie Guerrero, once again. He becomes a cheating bastard, and he screws Liv Morgan and aligns with Roxanne Perez, and Liv Morgan becomes one of the biggest baby faces in WWE.
So basically just copy and paste what they did with Rhea Ripley.
Yep. Because to me, that fits Dom's character. He lies, cheats, and steals. He's a cheating bastard.
It's okay. I don't love the idea of, oh, let's do the same story 5 times. Oh, that sounds great. Okay.
I think the biggest story here on this card, because listen, Cena and Punk are going to have a good match. We all know Cena's going to retain. I do think there is a chance that they rerun the Night of Champions 2012 spot. Do you know the spot I'm talking about? Where Cena did the back suplex on Punk and it was a double pin?
No.
Okay, were you watching WWE or like any wrestling at that time?
Loosely, but not really.
Okay, so look it up on YouTube. There was a spot where CM Punk was in the middle of his 434 WWE Championship reign, and he was facing Cena in the main event of Night of Champions in 2012. And Cena did a back German suplex. So Punk's face was facing the steel post. So Punk is sitting backwards on the top rope. Cena comes up backwards. He delivers a German suplex. They land on each other's shoulders. Their both shoulders are down when the referee counts the three. So Punk retained the title. I think that finish could be the same because they obviously redid the pipe bomb promo, which I thought was Cena's best promo since turning heel by a mile. I absolutely loved it. Shout out to Matt Cardona, Questinoli, and all those guys, obviously, over there that he shouted out. But I think the biggest story in this show is what I talked about a couple weeks ago when I told you, I don't remember if it was on the air or off the air, that I do believe the King of the Ring finals was going to be Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, and that we are going to try to find another opponent for Gunther to face. It still could be Sami Zayn, but now I'm wondering if they go in a different direction.
Yeah, I still think the better story would have been Sami Zayn, but he's facing Karrion Kross at Night of Champions, which I don't know what you do with that match because Kross has been getting a lot of strong reactions when he's been on TV, but Sami is on this journey where everybody is telling him, you are going to be a world champion. So
but I think this feud continues past this show. So I think Scarlett physically interferes, causes the distraction. Kross will win this match.
Yeah, but with SummerSlam on the horizon, I think they want Sami in a big match. Maybe, probably not against Seth because it looks like they're going to do LA Knight versus Seth.
Well, maybe it's still Gunther. I mean, we don't know. There is another world championship match out there. You don't necessarily have to win it by King of the Ring. But I am now sticking to my gut that Seth Rollins is not going to cash in on the World Heavyweight Champion. I think Cody is going to defeat John Cena, and Seth Rollins could cash in on Cody. Now, I have another theory as well. I think there are two ways this could go at SummerSlam, Josh, and I'm sorry to be all over the place. I apologize, but since we're on the topic of the World Championships, I think they both sort of intertwine. So I believe two things could happen. Number one option is Cody versus Cena. Cody wins, Seth cashes in. You don't do Gunther versus Sami. Gunther faces somebody else at SummerSlam. Option number two, Gunther does face Sami Zayn at SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins does cash in on Sami Zayn and win the World Championship, and you start that arc again of Sami having the Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan, if you will, esque WrestleMania 42 arc to get back to the championship.
You mean WrestleMania 32, not 42?
Well, WrestleMania 42 coming up, for Sami to get back to the championship. Then, for the Undisputed Championship, you do a double turn. The Rock comes out, and Cody Rhodes, so desperate to get his championship back, finally turns heel and screws John Cena out of the Undisputed Championship. And then John Cena goes back to being the ultimate babyface and tries to dethrone Cody Rhodes before he retires.
Yeah, I guess you could do that. I don't know if WWE would do that. It seems like they've referenced The Rock, but Cena hasn't really done anything with The Rock since his heel turn, which this heel turn has been okay, but I don't think...
Here's my thing. I think a lot of people are missing the actual point of this heel turn. And I get it, right? Everybody wants John Cena to have his best matches. We want to celebrate Cena because it is his last year. But the heel turn and the gimmick of I am going to ruin wrestling for every person and everyone is literally what he's doing. He is having terrible matches where he seems like he can't wrestle. And he's wrestling like a chicken shit heel on purpose. That doesn't mean you don't have to like it, but I think people are misinterpreting what this heel turn actually is, which is why I think I'm actually enjoying it, because I think it's the funniest shit, it being a chicken heel shit.
Yeah, I get it. It's been Like, it hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't quite hit the mark the way I thought it would. So it's been okay. I would give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. So
Okay, you're a lot higher because some people think it's a 1. They think it's like the worst thing that's ever happened to wrestling.
No, I wouldn't say that, but it doesn't. It hasn't quite hit the way I wanted it to. But like you got Asuka versus Jade in the finals. Okay, I wish they had put Becky, Bailey, Lyra on this show, but I hope they save that for SummerSlam. Not that it doesn't belong at Evolution, but if you do that at SummerSlam, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to say this, not to sound feminine or anything, but I didn't watch Evolution 1. And just the girls in WWE, there's not enough star power where Evolution draws nothing for me.
Like, that's why I think they may do Becky, Lyra, and Bailey at Evolution, because that could be the main draw now. Here's what I don't understand. They are doing such a good job with the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and yet the Women's United States Championship, what?
Yeah. And the complete opposite is true about the tag team titles. They're doing such a good job with it on SmackDown, and on Raw, I forgot the New Day are still the champions.
Yeah, and guess what? They are having a title defense against the Judgment Day on Monday.
Yeah, the inconsistent booking has been strange this year from WWE. Who do you think does win Queen of the Ring, though? Do you think it's Asuka or do you think it's Jade?
I think it's Jade. They have her face Tiffany. Probably Jade wins, cash in.
Okay, here's my thing. This is why, and Jade Cargill is a favorite, and I get it, but I don't know why. I don't think WWE is going to want the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring on SmackDown, technically, exclusively. So I actually think Asuka wins. I think that they run the Asuka EO and they make the big deal about best friends, former Damage Control teammates, all that. They teased it during a commercial break, apparently on Raw. For those of you that had the ad-free version of Netflix, I guess saw it in a backstage segment. I saw it on social media. So I think that's the direction they go. And I think that they draw this. I think we could see Tiffy and Jade fight, and they don't need the Queen of the Ring. And I agree with you because that was my original prediction was, yes, that's going to happen. But I'm starting to think that maybe they start to draw out this Naomi Money in the Bank cash in a little bit because I don't think Jade Cargill is ready for a world championship feud yet.
And by the way, in terms of Tiffany Stratton, why are we going back to Nia Jax?
I don't know, but at least it's going to finish tomorrow. They're going to have a good women's last man standing match. I actually think it will be a very good match because their match on SmackDown, the last time they did fight, I was like, why are we doing this again? They did have a very good match.
That they might be doing a last woman standing because that's when Naomi cashes in. And then you could do Jade winning just because of that. Like I said.
And just do Jade versus Naomi at SummerSlam? Wow, okay.
Yeah.
For the title?
Yeah, I could see it.
And then, Bianca, well, then at that point, maybe Bianca gets involved, and maybe that's your triple threat for SummerSlam. And
yeah.
You do Bailey, Lyra, and Becky at Evolution, like you said.
Yeah. Like, for me, those are my two favorite programs in WWE right now, is everything with Naomi and the Money in the Bank. And then Becky, Lyra, and Bailey. That's what I'm loving most on WWE. Becky, Lyra, and Bailey is number one for me. Like, that whole program, I loved their feud going into Money in the Bank when it was Becky and Lyra. That promo battle where it was like, if I win, you have to raise my hand.
Yes. I think Becky has helped Lyra grow out of her shell, for sure.
It's like, that's been my favorite feud.
I'm going to give you one more prediction for this show. Jacob Fatu is not going to lose the U.S. Championship, but Haiku is going to make his debut. And he is going to join Solo Sikoa's bloodline in a disqualification finish. And he is going to be the new guy to replace Jacob Fatu in Solo's bloodline.
I think Fatu wins this match, but the program's not done. I think they run it back at SummerSlam. I'm actually surprised they are running this match at Night of Champions. I thought they would draw out the program all the way to SummerSlam.
Here's a good question for you. Who is going to be the first person to pin Jacob Fatu?
Man. Maybe Jimmy?
But Jacob's a babyface now.
True.
I think down the line, maybe a Braun Breaker, a Bronson Reed. Maybe he gets involved in the Seth Rollins storyline down the road.
Maybe.
Because I think there's a possibility he goes technically undefeated like Gunther until next year's WrestleMania. When he loses, it's going to be a big deal.
That I agree with.
And it's not Solo. I would be absolutely shocked if it's Solo.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I'm going to watch this show. I might be at Progressive Field to see the St. Louis Cardinals take on the Cleveland Guardians.
I will be there on Sunday.
Oh, that's funny.